Spike it up's holding on. Trigger, you've done it, you champion. Spike it up wins. Goes to the lead. John's going to take out the Dudley Justice. And that's Mr. Ali. It could be. He's fighting back. Oh, look at him. Spike it up does it.
And welcome to Mobile Rolling once again, the show that gives a lot of winners and a lot of losers.
Well, speaking of that, Jack, for the whole episode, you picked 4 winners. Rocky and myself picked 6 winners, but we picked more losers. But we'll come up with a trophy presentation later on, Rocky.
Oh, I'm looking forward to that.
I'll tell you what, it is going to be very interesting.
Well, I know you've tipped it to yourself. We don't know
yeah,
who's run first or second or third, so it's going to be very interesting.
Yep.
Although I'm tipping, I probably know who's come last because he was just a
I had to
disaster.
come last, didn't I? You know, you
didn't have to.
They took a meeting off, and I never even got a chance. Both horses scratched. So
That's the only time you had to collect, Jack.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you didn't lose. The results say very, very close, more closer than what you'd probably think. But anyway, we'll go into that later on for sure. We're going to catch up with Dale Afford today and also Emma Grigson as well from the board. And obviously we'll do the trophy presentation with the betting side of things. No tips today, so we'll work out what the plus and minuses were there. Obviously, the Allwood Stud Farm yearling sale, which we highlighted extensively last week. This Sunday, Rocky, we've got the heats of the Allwood for the 2-year-olds, and I've noticed that
I'm looking forward to all these heats.
Yeah, 12 of those were purchased or went through the sale,
right?
And the other, I think there's 11 and 10 in it, but the other 11 runners or 9 runners were either. What are they, non-sale items?
Yeah.
Something like that. But looking forward to it this Saturday.
You're right. I think they're all very, very handy races. Looking forward to see how much improvements in the Sneaky Fox.
Yep.
Very good. Very good tips.
It was good.
Rocky tipped it, but most impressive. Skipped about for a little bit, but got into its gear and led, and never looked like getting beat.
Exactly.
And I think that it'll improve a lot from it.
Well, I'm sure, and that's, when I spoke to Cav a couple of weeks ago about it and Artillery, who this thing keeps up with, and Cav's already put us on notice about Artillery of how good he thinks that will be.
Yep.
So for me, it made Sneaky Fox look a pretty good bet last week, and 5's in the 290 said it was. But I think you're right, JB. I reckon it will open him up really nicely.
I think it'll lead and win again.
Yeah, it's in saying that too. It's probably the weaker of the heats, don't you think? There's one heat that's just chock-a-block with horses from Victoria and great breeding.
I see Tim Butts brought one over.
Yeah.
And Alan Arthur's son has got a small share in that.
Oh, has he?
Yeah.
Okay.
Ryan Arthur. So they must think something of it. It had a start the other day. It didn't do a great deal, but apparently it had been trialling all right.
Yep.
And he's not bringing it over for nothing.
No.
That's Valencia that you're talking about?
Yeah.
Was lot 31 last year, was passed in.
Yeah.
But from the 12, just quickly from the 12 from the sale, which was the 2019 sale, Reigning Star is in Heat 1.
Yep.
It was passed in. Falcons, who's in Heat 2, it went for 20,000. Gareth Hall was listed as the purchaser there.
Okay.
So it was lot number 10.
Yep.
Lot 11 was Sir Richard Lee, went for 8,500. It's in the first heat. Surface was lot number 13. It went for 20,000, again purchased by Gareth Hall.
Yeah. Can we just go back quickly there? Sir Richard Lee, who's Jake Mitchell? I haven't heard of him. As the trainer?
From New South Wales, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, around the Newcastle area.
Right, okay.
Yeah. We've got Amazing Kate, who Matthew Smith purchased for $5,000, was lot 16.
Yep.
She Shall Rock was lot 17, went for 18,000. The interesting part about this, you might know the story here, Rocky, but listed as purchased by Aaron Bain Racing, but not in that ownership now.
No, that's right. We purchased it for Albie Ashwood last year. That was the one that he picked out that he wanted. We bought it on behalf of Albie, and then he was able to sell all the shares, so we didn't have to, unfortunately, keep a part in it.
Yeah, bad luck there.
But we've had an interest in it the whole way through, and
watching her progress. Yeah.
It's very handy.
Yeah, well, she went for 18,000.
Yeah.
She was lot 17. She's in the second heat. The Sneaky Fox, who you've told us about, well, she was passed in. And I think that's what Paul said, that he was initially probably a bit disappointed that no one purchased it. But then after he got to know her, he said, oh, well, I'm happy they didn't take it. And
that's
it
right.
proved last week with her victory there.
Yeah.
So she was lot 22. It seems to me that the guy we've got on later today, Dale Afford, he's the one laughing. He paid $5,000 for Northern Terror, which was lot 24, you know.
Yeah.
And
Very good.
he's going to pay for himself, no problems.
Yeah.
Very clever buy there.
Yep.
Vindan, who's Northern Terror in Heat 1. Vindan in Heat 2 went for $37,000. It was the number one highest purchase of last year's sale. And that went to AD Investments. It was lot 25.
Yeah, that's the Captain Treacherous and Lost Over, which we asked about last week. I'd never heard of it. I didn't know about the mare side of it and what it's going to throw. Well, this is the first one, exactly the same breeding as what we were up for at the sale.
Exactly. $1 Million Kiss is in Heat 1. She was lot 30. She was a buyback, if you like, for $9,000 for Jack Panezia 2.
Okay.
Valencia was spoken about in Heat 1. It was passed in. I beg your pardon. Yes, it was passed in. It was lot number 31, Valencia.
Yeah.
It was put in by Ben Stud, Standardbreds, but passed in. And Penny's Following was lot 37 last year and went for $6,000, purchased by Lyndon Hall from the Port Perry Harness Racing Club. So there's a bit of an update of what it is for purchases for the yearlings, and the top price last year was $37,000.
Well, quite a few of them have come to the races.
Yeah.
12
of the 21 from the sale.
Well, that's pretty good.
So from the two heats, there's 21 horses. 12 of those are from the sale. The other ones are non-sale entries, if you like.
Years ago, you'd never heard of that. It was about 1%, 2% would get to the races.
Well, my Uncle Bob always told me years ago it was a really bad percentage. 10% of the horses that were sold at the sale, only 10% of those would get to the racetrack, and only 10% of those would win a race.
Wow.
And that's a fact.
And the strike rate now is obviously much better.
Well, it's evident there, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure.
So you are down to 1%.
So you go to the Allwood sale now, and you got more than the 50% chance of purchasing a nice 2-year-old.
$100,000 race in the Allwood. Group 1.
Yeah.
All right, that's it, boys, for the opening. We'll go to a break. Dale Afford will be on after. Welcome to the British Workmen's Club, where we've had star performers here. Jerry and the Pacemakers, Del Shannon, some of the greats of years gone by. But nowadays, they have plenty of great bands performing here. Every weekend, a host of Adelaide's top bands perform. The Party Cats, led by Masters Apprentice legend Peter Tilbrook. We all know Peter. And the Lincolns are here, Chunky Custard, plus a host of South Australia's up-and-coming bands. Right behind me, you can see the fully stocked bar, plenty of drinks to be had, a great location for a great night out at Davis Street, Wingfield, just off Grand Junction Road. Come to the British Workingmen's Club.
Welcome.
Yes, welcome back to Mobile Rolling. Jimmy, we've got a guest down from Port Pirie right now, Dale Afford. Welcome, mate.
Thanks, guys.
Oh, great to have you here. Rocky, we mentioned on the show last week, I think it was, or the week before, just cruel to see He's a Shark get beat in the Derby, just to certainly beat. How are you coping with that, Dale?
I mean, there's two sides to it. I nominated for the race not knowing whether I'd accept. You sort of never know where you're at with the Victorians coming over. So, I mean, if you said the week before you'll run second in the Derby, I'd have taken it. So, but, to get dragged back and run on, who knows. I mean, I did work early, so, I mean, I did have the opportunity to come out with a lap to go, but I'd worked out the gate and I thought I was following reasonable enough horses and,
What happened on that turn out of the home straight, mate?
In
the Derby?
No, in the Derby was okay. The St Ledger.
Oh, sorry, the Ledger.
In the St Ledger. He's a bit of a funny horse. He's at home. He's so placid and quiet, and then he switches on at the races. And he's also like, I mean, the reason I bought him at the sale and I liked him is his movement. But what you find is he doesn't actually speed his action up. He just lengthens his stride. So when you're sort of going steady. I mean, and I was trying to push through. My intention was to push through at the start, try and get in front of Maharaja.
So when it galloped, all you did, I watched, you just eased him slightly to come away, and he went up in the air.
Yeah, that's the only time he's done it as a 3-year-old. He did it a couple of times.
As a 2-year-old, went in the Sutherland Cross by doing it in the heat, didn't he?
Drew the pole in the heat, which was always going to be painful when you're a bit risky. One time you don't want to draw the pole. But yeah, it's kind of part of what he is as well. So, you know, he's got that stride where he's sort of, when he's going slow, he can be a bit rocky, and then as he speeds up, he links in stride. So, and he's still very, very immature, like both in mind. He still switches on and off in races. In the St. Leger, you know, nearly lost my spot down the back because he sort of come off the bit, then he picked up round the corner.
Yeah, well, they sprinted and you couldn't keep the back of Maharaja. And then was it Maharaja or no? It wasn't Maharaja. Was up ahead of you, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was ahead. It was actually Mark Billinger was trying to push out underneath me, so I was sort of copping a bit of pressure from the inside. But he just races in patches, still very immature. So
So, what stage of getting the education into him and putting him behind the sulky, when did you finally say to yourself, I think he's going to be okay this one?
I got some video on my phone the third or fourth time we put him in the cart, and you just got that floaty long stride, which is
beautiful. Isn't it?
and that's you know, that's sort of why you're sort of near the edge a bit. And I'm happy to put up with that. That's fine.
Yeah. But the run in the Derby was fantastic. Around the bend, like Greg took the front, and around the bend you were out very wide, coming down the outside. For a fleeting moment, I thought you were going to catch him.
Yeah, so did I.
Did you feel that as well, or did you feel at any stage you were going to catch MacDan?
Probably didn't really notice that much. My run probably did finish 20 or 30 metres before the line. Yeah. But when I got dragged back down the back straight, I sort of just wasn't off the back. Also, I had to wait a bit to come out. And so I was 20 or 30 metres, or maybe 10 metres off the back of the last of the pack. And when I sprinted up, he went so quick that my intention was to follow Kate round the corner. And he come so quick, I nearly ran up the back of her. And then, so then I switched wide and well, just keep going now. So, I mean, he was entitled not to sort of hit the line hard after what he'd done.
So. Can you hear the Red and Green Army on the sidelines? Making a bit of noise, mate?
No, I didn't that night. No, I sometimes do.
Cleary, I hear them up in the box at Cleary. Lisa Partington yelling their guts out.
Yeah, they're pretty passionate.
Love it.
But in all seriousness, you've got to be really excited about He's a Shark as a horse being part of your team.
Yeah, I'm not excited about having 66 points. So after, we've actually gave him 12 days off after the Derby, and intentions of running him in the Piri Derby, then I'll sort of Southern Cross, and maybe I've got a bit of unfinished business at Mildura. I'd like to go back there and get me bonuses back. So I've got 5 with Vic Bred bonuses, so I'll have to be game enough to go back there at some stage.
You have to. Now, Rocky mentioned about the Red and Green Army. All right, tell us, because they're in the ownership everywhere. Deed, Partington, and Afford. All right, tell us about the team.
So there's 3 families. So we call ourselves APD. Just for we actually went to the Perth Inter-Dominion, and so I got these APD shirts printed off. So that's sort of where that originated. But so Ross Partington and Cynthia had horses back with me in the major hit days, sort of back in the 90s. And their daughter Lisa, so that's the Partingtons, even though it's in Lisa's name, that's the 3 of them. And then I worked with Terry at work for 20 odd years, and we sort of come mates. And
you still can't get rid of him, he's here now.
Yeah, no. He's making sure I don't talk about him probably. So Terry and his wife Vicky, and we started off with 1 or 2, and we're up to 6.
So that's the Deed family,
so that's the Deed part of it, and then just my wife Mignon and I. Although Dad's a bit of an unofficial part of that. He does a lot of the little jobs around home. So
how many are you working, mate?
We've got 6 and we're working 5. So
righto.
Yeah. And I think I'm allowed to have 1 at the sale. She did put the 1 thing. I think that means
which way around was that 1 though, mate?
Yeah, no, probably. She's very. I can't afford to stop doing the work. So,
So is that enough? Because you're still working, is that right?
Yeah, I work 10 hours a day. So my normal day, I get up about 4:45 and do the feeds, morning feeds, have breakfast, get to work between 5:15 and 5:30, and if I'm lucky, I get away about 3:30.
Yeah.
And in the really hot weather, we might do some horses in the morning.
Right.
Or if Mignon works the weekend, she might have days off during the week. She might do a couple in the morning. But yeah, typically between 3:30, probably takes us 2.5, 3 hours to do them.
So what work do you do?
So I'm the superintendent of maintenance at the lead smelter in Port Pirie.
Okay, yep.
So so I have boilermakers, fitters, electricians, engineers, those sort of people work under me. So
Yeah, right.
so the horses are supposed to be a bit of a getaway, a hobby and a bit of a getaway, but it's a bit more than that.
But I've got to say, over the last 2 or 3 seasons, you're living the dream. You know, you're getting good wins, a number of wins. Always, I get the Port Pirie book. There's the leading owners, of course, with Dale's team. You know, so it's been a good run.
Yeah, it's been a good run. I mean, it started like when Peter Thompson moved to Melbourne, and between Peter and Andy, filtered a few horses back. But we got to a point where I think if they can't win in country Victoria now, they probably can't win here either.
Yeah.
You know, there's going to be the exceptions. Some get better, or just sort of if they're on a low mark. So I've always liked young horses. I grew up breaking in show horses, and Dad used to break a lot of horses in. So I always liked the young horses, and I sort of thought if we're ever going to find one that's a bit better than average, we've got to probably buy young ones and break them in. So.
Now, without being political, we've always mentioned about the national rating system, how the 3-year-olds are affected the worst. And I mean, there's a perfect example. I mean, what do you say? He's a 66 now?
66, yeah.
So he's virtually nearly in the fast class at the end of his 3-year-old career.
Yeah, I always think if you compare with other people's horses, you can sort of, it can be judgmental, but Glenroy Hanover's won 15 races, and he's got 64 points. Yeah. And He's a Shark's won 4 races as a 3-year-old, and he's got 66 points. So
it's not right. They've got to do something about it. I mean, Harness Racing Australia. If you're listening, if you're watching, you can see you've got to do something about it, because obviously, and we've said this, and without sounding like a broken record, the 3-year-olds had a good advantage before. They took that away from them, but now the 3-year-olds have got a disadvantage, you know, and it's,
you don't get it because it's the future of longevity of our sport is to keep these 3-year-olds.
It's going to ruin this. It's going to ruin the yearling sales or sales if they don't get it right by fixing it, because what's going to happen is people are not going to breed because they're not going to work with young horses, you know? You don't have to talk about this, Dale. I'm just running off on a tangent here, you know what I mean? But this is a very important part of our industry. They've got to fix it. They have to fix it. Harness Racing Australia have to fix it. It's pure and simple, because it's not right. Yeah. Right, I've got that off my chest. Right, Rocky, go with Dale. Have you got another question for him? I know I've thrown you off track now.
Well, no, that's fine, mate. But with a horse like He's a Shark, you're dead right. He's had 13 starts, 7 wins, 4 placings. So he's like your staple in the stable, but he's a star as well. To keep things going, are you going to go to the sales on the 15th and have a look at everything, or just you got anything in mind, or do you just go and find one that you think, I'll have a crack at that?
Yeah, I've had a look through the book, but I spent through the 90s just to go to the yearling sales probably for 8 or 10 years in a row with Gavin Lang. And he would mark his book up, then I would have the book, and he would look at them on type and then sort of use the type more so than. And when He's a Shark's the most we've spent with 10,000. So when you're spending that sort of money, you can't be too worried about who mum and dad are. I mean, there's some that I've probably ruled 6 or 8 out that. Because the other side of it is when you get home, you've got to like them. Peter Thompson used to always say, if you don't like them, you don't have a chance and they don't have a chance. So I sort of ruled them out on that way. And probably the best example was when we bought She's a Shark. I went to Melbourne to buy, thinking I was going to buy Cheers Biggie's his half-brother. Yeah. And when I seen him, I didn't like it. You know, he was quite a big horse, Roman nose, just not the sort of horse I liked. So thought it wasn't fair to either of us to take him home. And this filly kept walking around and couldn't take my eye off her. Like, she picked me almost. She went in the ring and didn't get a bid, and I thought I missed something. So I got Andy Gath to have a look at her, and he said, I can't go wrong. So So it was, yeah, and I didn't really know what I even liked about her. She was quite small and a bit chunky, but just something about her. And similarly,
I suppose you liked her after she won the Southern Cross final.
Yeah, I loved her then. Yeah. Even Northern Terror, I looked at him.
I like him.
I like him, but he doesn't like too much. But if for the people that remember the Allwood last year, if you remember the colt that was rearing up, putting his feet over the back of the skull, squealing, that was him.
Okay.
And that's what I liked about him.
Yeah.
Because we put him in the cart every day. There's a rule they can go on the jogger 1 day a week, and typically after they race. So they go in the cart every day. So if they're a bit silly, Mignon can work them for a while till they're quiet enough for me then. But what didn't really faze me, most people probably would have ruled him out of their book thinking he would be too much trouble, but we used to break Brumbies in off the train. The guys, the train would pull into Pirrie and they would get the dead ones off. And there was a couple of guys who had the contract of taking the dead ones off, and those days they were greyhound trainers, and every now and then let a live one off for a bit of fun to break in. So I can remember being on them. Dad had them on the long rope, and they'd be rearing up, chasing him, striking at him while I'm trying to ride him. And so I didn't really sort of seen it as a bit of a challenge. And he's a challenge, but the week before he won, Mignon is happy to drive him. He's got no idea of speed, so I've got a little digital watch and I give her the speeds we want to go. And I set her at the speed that we would work the good older horses, and I said, I'll just follow you. If I can't keep up, you just better back off a bit. So she was running pretty hard, and with 100 to go, I pulled off her back, and it was Glenray Hanover that she was following, and he pulled off Hanover's back and run past him. So I thought if he does everything right, we've got a chance.
He took a bit of steering. He's very green, and he was getting hard on one rein. But the part I really liked about him was the last 100 metres up the straight. Because when you got his head straight and you asked him to go, well, you didn't really ask him to go. He just did it himself, didn't he? You know.
He doesn't hang. That's the only time he's hung.
Really?
He doesn't hang, and he didn't hang last night when we fast worked. So I'm hoping. I had a high-des hood on him in the stall because he was a bit unsettled, and about 10 minutes before the race we took the hood off and he arced right up, got the rope through his mouth and broke the clip. So I'm hoping that that's all it was, because he doesn't hang. So
Any lacerations or anything?
No, I've looked every night since, and I did change the bit and put a pole on him last night just to see, but he didn't turn his head. So
good.
So I mean, in the Allwood, you won't be able to afford that luxury in a race like that. So we'll see.
Excellent.
Hey Dale, we could speak so much more. We might get you on another time next season or a season down the track and talk about your history of how you got involved. But Mac's given us the wind up. It's time up. But hey, look, thanks for coming in. Have a safe trip back to Port Fairy.
Actually very good at that.
Yeah, and good luck with Northern Terror, and he's a shark when he comes back with his little freshen up, mate.
Good on you, mate.
Thanks.
Good to see you.
There's Dale Afford. We'll take a break. We'll come back with more.
See the boys down at Modry Battery Services. With over 40 years of experience in batteries, stocking the largest range in supercharged batteries with more power, longest life and battery warranty. So specialising in auto electrical and aircon regas and repairs.
Welcome back to Mobile Rolling, and it's betting time. And the
last one.
It's been decided, and these are the trophies. Now,
congratulations, mate.
Thank you, mate. Yeah, congratulations to all of us. How well did we go?
Yeah.
Now, you remember after episode 10, Jack was on 14 points minus $57, okay?
Yep.
He decided in episode 11 to have $20 on Dusk Hawker.
Yep.
Ran exceptionally well, very good performance, but didn't win, finished second. 2 points, minus $20.
It'll win Friday night.
Okay, Friday night. There we go. There's your tip straight away.
Yeah.
And Don't Tell Alice, $10 each way. Finished third, $1.10 for a place. Well supported for the place. Not much return. You got 1 point for running third and minus $9 with that investment. So, after episode 11, Jack is on, the finish. He's dollars. Had someone, it's a disgraceful performance, Rocky. Yeah. Everyone else has been in the positive. I mean,
How does that happen?
We're putting up these bets for the people to make a profit that follow mobilerolling.net to make a profit.
Reputation is retired and punts for a living.
Yep. And the winner of last season's tipping competition as well clearly.
Yeah.
He's just, it's gone to his head. He's gone to pieces. What is it?
Oh, it's just we
family commitments.
No, I think we knuckled down on the pressure.
Yeah.
You know,
Crumbled under the pressure.
I just couldn't.
Port Adelaide fella.
I had trouble chasing you.
Front runner.
Yeah.
But listen, 17 points, but minus $86 means minus 8.6 points.
Yep.
So that brings him to a total of 8.4 points. The worst result ever. The worst result ever in the history of the mobile
Please take that with honour.
rolling.net tipping competition. Jack, you've gone from winner to sinner.
Well, it's not the first time.
Anyway, you finished third, Jack.
Yeah.
Good effort, Jack.
Oh, there was no fourth.
No, not at all. No, and had there been a fourth, you would have run fourth too.
Back yourself each way.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, Rocky, after episode 11, you had a total of 18 points. Beg your pardon. Let's do that again. After episode 10, you had a total of 14 points plus $71. Now, I found the anomaly.
You did. You made the anomaly.
Which, well, not really. No, it was always in the system. So, I know there's Rafferty rules and all that sort of garbage, but the end result is if one of your horses is scratched or it doesn't get a run, then your bet, whether it be the win or the each way bet, goes to $10 each way on your other bet that's there. All right? And I did that later in the season with Just Cappy, and Alcatraz Lass is now your most favourite horse in the world because it happened to go on
another reason why she's my favourite.
Yeah.
The owners of Alcatraz Lass own the biggest lolly store in Australia, and they sent over a box last week about this big and about that high, chock-a-block with Allen's lollies.
Yeah? Oh, fantastic.
Haven't seen any yet from the Bain house.
Bain would be knocking them off now.
Yeah, he's put on 8
shoving them down. Yeah, exactly. So after episode 10, you're on 14 points plus $71. So your last ditch effort, you had $20 to win on the Sneaky Fox.
Yep.
Isn't that quite fitting, the name of that horse? The Sneaky Fox.
Yes.
And she got home at $2.90.
Yep.
So you got 3 points plus $38 profit.
Yep.
Then, this one killed me. Pies Riding Shotgun, $10 each way and pay $7.30 for a play. So, Jack, with his legion of fans, how can it pay $7.30 a place when there's only 500 in the place pool?
No one wanted
No
it.
one backed it. No one backed
Paid
it.
$10 in New South Wales.
Unbelievable. Oh, yeah, you got ripped off. So you got 1 point plus $53 profit on Pies Riding Shotgun. So, total points after episode 11, 18 points plus your bank total, bang, $162 in the profit. Well done. Great effort.
It's good, isn't it?
So, 18 points.
Good on me, Jack, is that right?
Hey?
Good on me?
Yeah, it was. Good effort. Good effort.
18 points.
Good effort.
Plus $162, which is 16.2 points.
So I'm close.
So 18 points plus 16.2 bonus points gives you a total of 34.2 points. Now, Muggins, after episode 10,
This is going to come in a lie, Jack.
I was on 18 points. This is a very close finish. I can tell you, pity we didn't have a race about this because this is very close. After episode 10,
call it.
I was on 18 points. Yeah, I could, but I won't. And my bank balance was plus $138. All right.
So
episode 11, I've had $20 on Missouri. She had a chance to win. She couldn't catch him. He'll take credit to this because we had Mick Norman on. He said, let's get Mick Norman on so Count Bacardi wins. So he'll say, that one because I had him on, So I've had $20 on Missouri. She's finished second. I've got 2 points minus $20.
There's another bit of luck that goes with that as well, wasn't there? Because you said if Pies Riding Shotgun beats Missouri, you'd run naked through Mawson Lakes, I think it was.
Yeah, something similar to that. But I was extremely confident that wouldn't be happening. That's if she didn't gallop, and she didn't gallop. And I had $10 each way, tons of tenacity, who paid $3.30 for a place, finished third, 1 point there.
That might have killed me.
Plus $13. So, total points after episode 11, 21 points for Muggins.
Yep.
Bank total after episode 11, plus $131.
Yep.
So, 21 points, $131 is plus 13.1 bonus points.
Yep.
Can you believe this? I've got friggin' 34.1 points. He's got 34.2. Rocky is the champion. There it is. Oh, Muggins here, second again. Never a winner. Who would you like to thank?
Well, I'd like to thank JB. Start off for being probably one of the poorest efforts I've seen for a long time.
Well, you don't know what about last year?
Oh, stop looking
What
in your
about
rear
last
vision mirror,
year?
mate.
Same thing was
care
him.
less.
The season before.
Who's got this?
The season before.
I got one. I got one home.
I'm the only one who hasn't got one, but I've got a couple of middle stringers.
It just shows, I reckon that's tortoise in the hair.
Yeah.
I was tailed off 6 weeks ago.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, amazing effort.
you very much.
Congratulations.
You've done well,
I'm
right?
proud
Good
of
on
you.
you,
You've done well.
Well done.
See you next
done.
year for another hiding.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm used to it.
So Rocky wins.
From us, not Cat.
34.2 points. Jimmy on 34.1.
0.1 of a point.
Yeah, 0.1. Jack, 8.4 points. We'll leave on that disgrace and we'll come back for more after.
Hi, my name is Peter Godric, Director of Cabinet Tech. We specialise in domestic general household cupboards commercially. Cabinet Tech has the ability to manufacture all detail types of work, including 2-pack paint finishes, solid timber, stonework, stainless steel, glass and upholstery. Please contact us on phone 8447 1400.
Who's got it?
You.
2, 1,
Welcome back to Mobile Rolling. Rocky, we've got a very special guest.
Sure
of course, in November, the Honourable Corey Wingard made the mention of 3 new appointees on the board for Harness Racing SA, and we're lucky to have Emma Grigson, who's with us. Hi, Emma.
Hi.
How you going, Emma?
Good, thank you. How are you?
Now, that was back in November,
Yes.
so you've had 4 months as part of being on the board of directors for Harness Racing SA. One of those, George Fiarchi's been named as the chairman of the board.
Yep.
Now, what has gone on in that 4 months?
So it's funny you mentioned that. We've just had our strategic planning day as well. So we're really focused on the sport and growing, promoting, protecting the sport into the future, making sure that we bring some of the fun back to harness racing, that we're united and that we're moving the sport forward into the 21st century.
That sounds pretty good, Rocky.
Sounds good, and I sure hope it happens. The first question to say is, can we afford it?
It's always a problem of money, isn't there? Yeah. Look, you can always find ways to do things, and where there's a will, there's a way. So
Well, that was George's answer too. So
it was. We have some really smart people on the board. Mark Taney, who's obviously joined the board as well at the same time I did.
Yep.
And they are working on those questions of exactly how we fund things and how we move forward and the specifics of those. So, in good time, those plans will come out, and I think that you'll see that, there are ways that we can do things that don't even cost any money,
Excellent.
moving our culture forward, helping our people help each other, those sorts of things.
Yeah.
Those things don't even cost money.
Yeah. Okay. So Mark, he was listed as the chartered accountant, so he's a little bit of the money side of things, I suppose. All right. You yourself, you were formerly with SA Health, and I think this is quite fitting, Rocky, because I think it's very similar, because you were in the area of disaster preparedness and also resilience. So I think Emma's got to bring that to Harness Racing SA and use all of those attributes to do that. But one thing that I liked about your profile is that you one of your strengths is cultural change, and I think that's something we've got to have in harness racing, to change the mentality of the people, to say, okay, look, we've done it that way, it didn't work, let's do it this way, we think this can work.
Yeah, look, I think so. And cultural change has to have everyone on board. The important thing is you empower people. You get them on board with the story that it is that you're telling. You say to them, look, what we're doing at the moment, what we've maybe been doing for a long time, it doesn't work. Yeah, there are great things about it, but let's move forward with that. Let's take on board all of the things, all of the traditions we have that make this sport great, all of these passions that people have, but let's find a way to move that forward. And as we're saying, let's find a way to engage a new generation into harness racing. Let's find a way to re-engage the people that we have there at the moment, make the sport fun, make it family friendly again, re-engage and get people really interested in the sport. And as I'm saying, we're committed to sort of 3 things: promoting the sport, growing the sport, but also protecting the sport and those things that make the sport really wonderful in South Australia.
Yeah, I think that as well. You watch the thoroughbreds, which I am more than happy to to copy, if you like, because every country meeting they have, whether it's Ballinarrel, Hanging Rock, wherever these little towns are, the locals support it like you wouldn't believe. It's almost like if you're not at the races, you've gone somewhere else at, say Hanging Rock. And if we can get that with our country cups, Victor, Pirrie, Gawler, Strath, that sort of Mount Gambier, even if it's further away, families will go to those sorts of meetings if it's marketed properly and put out there.
I think so, and that community spirit's really big.
Yeah.
I mean, harness racing is a sport that we want to bring the community together, not just the community that we have at the moment, but growing it. And I think you've touched on something really key there, engaging families, bringing it along. I went to the SA Cup just the other week it was, and it was so great to see young kids down on the grass and playing and really enjoying it, and they loved seeing the ponies trot around, and then having the adults engage in the sort of big kid races. That's what it's all about, engaging generations of people to really love this sport and get involved in this sport. And I think that's what it's all about. And you go to Port Pirie, I have a great family connection with Port Pirie, and you're right, the whole town gets together and goes to the track and they have a great time. And that's that community spirit that we're really looking for, and to just grow that and protect that, but move that forward in a contemporary sense.
Rocky, I think Emma makes a good point about Port Pirie in particular. The biggest crowds I've ever seen at Port Pirie is when there's been a community event, right? They promoted the meeting. I think the biggest crowd I've seen there is when they wanted funds for the helicopter pad for the hospital.
Right.
So everyone got to Port Pirie to support the harness racing because it was going to a community thing. So that might be an area that you guys can work on with the board to everywhere to try and get the crowds back, because the crowd was good SA Cup, but I mean, me as a guy that's been to every cup calling, commentating since the turn of the century, I've seen the crowds decline every single year. Right, so that's something to try and turn it around, even if you can turn it around halfway, because I go back, say, 10, 15 years ago, per capita Adelaide to per capita Melbourne, we would get more people at the South Australia Cup than what Victoria would get at the Victoria Cup. And I think that says something in itself, and you've got to ignite people and do something, and yeah, I mean, but that's the hard part. So where... I mean, you've only been there 4 months. I mean, it's going to take a long time to work out the pros and cons and then do the attack and say, okay, this is the area. So where are you at now with the board to say, okay, we're looking at trying to make something happen soon?
I think that, like I said, we did have our strategy planning day, and to draw on some of my old military terminology, we're at that point in time where we're doing what we used to call making sure our operating environment is ready, making sure that we have all of the information and all of the intelligence that we need to make sound decisions, and that we can work with everybody, because that's a real key part, I think. Making sure that we know we're not experts in every single part of racing. We might be experts in our fields, but we need to draw on all of the subsequent expertise that we need to then put that plan into action. And I think that's the point that we're at the moment. We've got our ideas, we've got where we want to go, we've listened to all of the feedback. I think that's a really important point to make. We went out searching for information from all of the people who've been involved in this sport, some of them for generations, and we've said, what do we need to fix? And we've heard what they've had to say, and we've taken that into our planning day, and we've gone, right, okay, this is where we think we need to go. Now we're drawing all of those experts and we're making up that action plan to move forward as soon as possible.
Now you're looking at doing your analytical troubleshoot and then just go through the process.
Yeah, I mean, we used to call it an intelligence preparation of the battle space, but I won't go quite that far. That's probably going a little bit too military.
Let's have a chat about you in particular.
Sure.
Where you've been, 5 states you said in 5 years? Been overseas?
Yeah, so my son has had lived in 5 states and 2 countries by the time he was 6. But yeah, myself personally, pretty much every state in Australia, and some of the rural areas as well, and 2 different countries.
What was that? How come that came about? What was?
So I was in the army for about just under 19 years. Oh, yeah. So you get posted approximately every 2 years, so to a new position, a new job and a new unit usually. And so sometimes I got lucky and got posted more often than that. Sometimes my unit would move, so I would move with them, and that's the way that it goes. Yeah.
Since I didn't know the army took people on at 6 years of age.
I was about to say that. They're obviously a bit desperate when you're around. They're taking 6 and 7 year olds in.
Very kind. No, I joined straight out of school, so I'm an Adelaide girl, born and bred, actually just out this way. I joined straight out of school, 16 and a half when I signed all my paperwork. My mum helped sign me up and co-signed me, and
was that always
17 when I shipped off.
Always your plan to join the army? That was
it was, from when I was about 5.
Okay.
Yeah.
And joined them when you were 6.
Yeah, something like that. So I think my parents thought I'd grow out of it, but I like to have a plan and I like to stick to it. So that's.
And overseas, whereabouts?
So Afghanistan, and then also I've been to Southeast Asia as well. Yeah.
Okay.
Was Afghanistan scary? Like it was a area of danger, or?
It was and it wasn't. I mean, it's a dangerous place, absolutely. I did some very fulfilling work. There were some moments where it did feel very dangerous, absolutely, and you do worry, obviously. I was a young single girl with no children, so really I didn't really feel the worry as much. Now I have children, I guess you feel a different perspective once you have kids.
Yeah.
I didn't have much concern for my poor old mum back over here in Adelaide, worrying what was going on, but so just under sort of 10 months over there in Afghanistan, so working with the commander of all of the medical forces in the southern half of Afghanistan, so across several different, they don't call them states, but provinces, but states, basically.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And there was plenty of noise all the time, and do you become oblivious to it, or you think, oh?
Plenty of noise, some shelling sometimes, the helipads, some patrolling, which was great.
Yeah.
Getting out and getting to see what the people I was training were doing was fantastic. But definitely some moments I perhaps wouldn't want to go through again.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
All right, well, you've got a battle on your hands now, trying to fix up harness racing in South Australia.
Different sort of battle, but I think some of the ways you move forward are the same. You get people, you empower people, and you work together. I think that's a key thing. You work together, you make sure you have all the information, and you move forward positively.
Okay. And how long's your term on the board?
3 years.
3 years, okay. So do you think that would be a long enough term for you to do what you want to do as a person on the board?
I hope so.
Yep.
I would like to think
to see progress. Yeah.
I would like to think that I will see progress soon. I'm a person of action.
Okay.
So I would like to think that you're going to see Emma Grigson making some action soon under George Fiarchi, obviously, as our chairperson. So.
Well, there we go. There's Emma Grigson, the action woman, part of the team for Harness Racing SA. Thanks, Emma, for your time.
Not a problem at all.
And
anytime.
We'll take a break and come back with more. Welcome back to Mobile Rolling. Rocky, Jack, this is our final session of Season 3. We're going to have a 3-week break before we come back here to the British Workingmen's Club.
Been great for us this year.
Yeah, they've hosted us really well here.
Very well.
Looked after us fantastically, and we appreciate what they've done for us. And look, they said, look, guys, if you want to keep going, you can do your next series here. So Series 4 will be here at the British Workingmen's Club.
Very good.
Yeah, and look, we've had we've covered a bit of an area over this season. I think Max Beasley wanted to highlight the ponies because he realised how important the ponies are to our industry, and I've always realised that. I mean, like I started calling the pony races in 1985, and back in those days, like I said, at least 90% of the kids that were driving in the ponies would go on to drive. Put it this way, all your top drivers now. Ryan Waharick, Danny Hill, Wayne Hill, Mark Billinger, all those guys, they all went through the pony ranks, you know what I mean? And I think it's a great stepping stone and a good introduction to getting involved.
No question.
We've had the board members, we've had the chairman of the board, George Fiarchi, who we didn't know was chair at the time. Good to catch up with him. First time being in the Port Adelaide Club rooms for a long time.
Long time. Emma today.
Emma Grigson today, part of the show as well.
Try to give everyone a go. I try to invite all sorts of harness racing people in to give them a go, from you know, the lower profile up to the top. So
it's been a very good range.
Yeah.
Very good.
But we hope you've enjoyed what we put on for the season. We're hoping that season 4 will be bigger and better again. But we've got some pretty good racing. I mean, we spoke earlier about the Allwood, the heats of the Allwood, going into a final, $100,000 final next Saturday. So we'll try and work out, we won't put it to the show, obviously, but ourselves will try and work out who's going to be the kingpins to take out the Allwood. I will say this, one of our correspondents, Lachlan Stace, he'll be calling the Port Pirie meeting next Friday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He went to my boss and said, Jakes is no good. I'd like to call Port Pirie, so he's going to do that.
Got the gig.
That's a good start, isn't it?
And basically because I'm going to Broken Hill, I'm calling the Broken Hill meeting.
You got the cup, is it the cup one?
St. Patrick's meeting. So
that's a good...
I've never been to, you've been to Broken Hill a few times.
35 times.
Yeah.
Over the years.
And the Rocky Baker memorial will be there.
Yeah, very good. And his sons carried on the legacy.
Yep.
And they donate 25 kids' bikes every year.
Yeah.
Wow.
For the young kids and that go there. It's a phenomenal stake money, the cup meeting there. I mean, they're racing for 15 grand or something for the cup, and 8 and 10,000 for the other races. And we've been going up there for years and years, and I mean, I started in Broken Hill in the 60s in the shearing sheds.
Yeah.
Okay.
When Broken Hill was 35,000 people and 4 mines going, and the town was booming.
Plenty of money.
Yeah, plenty of money. And the trots were every fortnight back then. Now they're only allocated about 7 or 8 meetings for the whole year.
Yeah.
But,
had a non-TAB last week. There's going to be a TAB on the 13th through the St. Patrick's Carnival and celebration. So
well, the crowd was down the last few years.
Yeah.
Okay.
I went there once on a footy trip.
Yep.
And a bloke came to me. I was actually in the toilet, but there was nothing going on. But he wanted $100 on a horse called Tobacco Twist. I'll never forget it. And he said, "No, I'll be outside. Give me the money when it wins."
Oh, he wanted you to put the bet on for him?
Yeah, so I added the $100 on Tobacco Twist at 10s.
Yeah.
You reckon I could find that bloke afterwards?
No.
He wasn't in the same taxi as me going back to Broken Hill 3 minutes after the race.
Did it win?
Yeah.
So what, you kept the money?
Yeah.
Broken Hill was famous. It was famous for the two-up.
Two-up.
Yeah.
In the old days, it was down the lane. Yeah. And it was one of the biggest two-up games in the whole of Australia.
Yeah.
Outside of Kalgoorlie.
Yeah.
But it was brilliant.
Yeah.
You could win hundreds and hundreds of pounds, thousands of pounds. And that's what it was noted for. But it was a gambling city.
Too right it was.
Yeah. Anyway, I'll be going there for the first time.
Good on you, mate. You'll enjoy it.
You'll enjoy it.
So I'll be calling the Rocky Baker Cup there.
Yeah.
All right. They got on from Lockie calling it Pirie.
Yeah.
Call a Cup before we finish.
Yes.
Call a Cup. I'm really
Sunday.
pleased that we've got really good fields on Saturday night.
Yep.
And they've come back with really good fields
Yep.
24 hours later, so I think that's a credit to us that we can get those 15, 16 races up with pretty handy fields all the way through. So and the Cup field looks pretty handy to me.
Pretty open race too.
Yeah, well, you got the Derby, you
Yep.
got the Hamiltonia for the Trotters,
Yep.
and the Pacers Cup, which is a standing start, so it should be good. Get
Be a
there
good day.
Sunday at Gawler, should be a good day out. First race kicks off at 2:39 in the afternoon. Don't forget the heats of the Allwood Saturday night leading into that at Globe Derby. First race at Globe Derby kicks off at 5:34, so it's an early start there. No racing Monday because it's Adelaide Cup Day for the thoroughbreds, so that we have a holiday on Monday. And look, you've got the Kapunda Cup, which is coming up in a couple of Sundays as well. We'll be looking forward to that. So plenty of racing. But listen, guys, we've well done, Rocky, to your win. As much as I thought I was home and
appreciate
home. I've run beaten this much, run second. Jack.
Still got beaten.
Thank you. But Jack, you've got something to aim for next season as far as the tipping is concerned. But look, we've tried our best to tip you some winners to hopefully you can get a bit of a profit. Jack's let the team down, but what we've done in the positive has overridden what he's done in the negative. So if you back this all, you'd be in front. So that's what we plan to do. Get some cash in your pocket, have a bit of fun. But as far as Season 3 for Mobile Rolling, Episode 12, it is now complete. But we'll be back in 3 weeks' time for season number 4. Rocky, Jack, thanks, guys.
Great working with you, boys.
Yeah.
See you next season. Well done, Maxwell.